how them smiling at your face, but envy a kill them silently. Not every bless up real, some of them hope you mash up.
Hello, everyone. Hello. Well, today we have a nice show planned for you today, because today we have the owner of Niagara Nautico, Mr. Russ Rowlands. And I know he's here now, so I'm going to add him to the stage really quickly as soon as I can see the chat, which I cannot. Here we are. Okay. Russ, if you're listening, I know you aren't there. You can, here's the link to call in. A bit early today, guys. Yeah, we were supposed to start at 2:22, but just wanted to make sure that everything was going to go well, right? So can you see it now? Do you see the link? You just have to click the link, Russ, and it will ask me to add you to the stage. Okay, there it is. Hello, Captain.
Hi, how are you, Julia?
I'm fine, thank you. Thanks for being here. It was pretty easy with you, though. I mean, to get it on, because I've had guests before who, have so much trouble. So I always say, let's troubleshoot first.
I'm glad that I came in here a little bit earlier. Once it made me realize I don't have a webcam on this computer, which is astonishing. So that's why I'm in the wrong orientation here. I'm on my phone. Okay. And two, it took me a minute, but it all got sorted out.
All
Success.
Good. Yeah, all good. So thanks for joining me today.
Well, thanks for having me.
Right. So what are you drinking today? Are you drinking today or no?
Oh yeah, I got a local beer from Bench. I forgot to grab that in the fridge. I'll have to go get that.
Yeah, I'm gonna go grab my wine cooler as well. As in the fridge. It was chilling. So,
okay, all right. Actually, my dear sweet wife is going to grab that for me. It's on the top shelf there, darling.
Yeah.
No, that's okay. So Julia, are we testing these things before and after? What's the process
so let me
here?
tell you how. Okay, I'm going to tell you how. Can you hear me properly?
I can.
Yeah.
You
hear me clearly? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So we're going to have our drink while we talk, and then when it's finished, we're going to wait 20 minutes. I have a timer here. So 20 minutes after we're finished both drinks, we're going to continue talking. But when 20 minutes are up, we're going to use Breathalyzer. Because remember, it's 20 minutes after your last drink. So we're going to start drinking while we start the interview. So, because I don't have a lovely wife, let me go and get my drink. Stay there. One second.
Okay. Yeah. I highly recommend one. A lovely wife, that is.
Oh, having a lovely wife?
Yeah.
Do you need two drinks?
No, she's having one and I'm having one.
Okay, I got it. Whoop! I got it. We're in business.
Okay.
Yeah. So first thing is
here's what I'm having. It's Balls Falls from Bench.
Bench Brewery is good. Okay, so what did you eat today? First of all, have you eaten?
I've just had a sandwich and I had a hash brown this morning, and I've had a couple of pints of water, and I had a couple of wine gums, like non-alcoholic candies. Okay. So I think I've had like what I would normally have eaten I don't know if you care about this crap. I'm 190 pounds and 6'4". But I feel like I've eaten adequately and drank what I normally would have drank as far as hydration goes today. So I feel like I was trying to square the test up fairly.
Good. Okay, so I had pasta this morning, and right now I'm gonna have some cucumbers and my favorite thing, beets, and I have a couple rice cakes just to munch while we drink.
Okay, I didn't bring a snack, but I did stuff myself with a sandwich about half an hour ago.
Yeah,
So
so you're fine. That's even better actually, because that
okay.
will really definitely slow down the
Yeah.
absorption.
Yeah. Okay.
It will be normal, right?
I
Okay, and then
think
we're
so.
gonna go into, because I'm curious too about where you sailed to this summer. We didn't talk about that. I don't know if you want to talk about that, but we can get into that. But let me do the introduction first for
Sure.
you, right?
Yes.
So today we welcome Mr. Russ Rowland, Captain Russ Rowland, captain and co-owner of Niagara Nautico, Niagara region's only sailing charter service based in Port Dalhousie, Ontario. Russ and his lovely wife Beth say yes to adventure, crossing oceans, tying the knot aboard on their boat, and now sharing that magic with couples, friends, and families in their 39-foot Jameson Odyssey named Black Diamond. From private day sails and pier picnics to intimate weddings, proposals, and bachelorette parties, Russ's mission is simple. Craft moments that float in your memory forever. I love that so much. As a licensed captain with 15 plus years of global sailing experience, he knows how to fuse meticulous planning with pure joy. So let's dive into Russ's journey and uncover what it takes to launch a dream yacht charter business. Good afternoon, Russ, and thanks for being here again.
Well, thanks for having me, Julia. Really appreciate the invite and putting up with the logistics of getting me in here. I know we've been trying to do this for a couple of months, so thank you.
Okay. Yeah, the work, and that's
Work,
just
yeah.
life happens.
Well, yeah, I'm sure we'll get into it a bit more, but I'm hardly in front of a computer at all between the end of May and early September, and so it's I have to remember how to reuse this thing.
I understand. All right, so before we get into everything, because just from my own curiosity, where did you guys? And let's start drinking. Let's cheers.
Oh, okay, sure. Yeah, okay, one sec. Cheers. Salud.
Salud.
Just so I can pace appropriately. How long until we've got our 20-minute timer there, Julia?
What do you mean?
Well, if you tell me in 5 minutes that we have to start our 20-minute timer, then I'm not going to have finished this pint.
No. When you finish, I mean, you guys take probably like 30 minutes or 40 minutes.
Yeah, 20 to 30 minutes to drink a pint. Yeah. I
don't think we're watching it unless you have a time constraint.
No. I mean, other than probably an hour at most for this call, but otherwise, yeah. Okay.
An hour is fine, because an hour is usually the times that we usually have for interviews anyhow.
Okay.
So once you think and talk, you'll be fine. So
okay.
Tell me now, where did you sail to this year?
So our charter business is very localized in Port Dalhousie. One of my most famous lines is sailboats go slow. The Black Diamond's top speed under sail might be 18 kilometers an hour, but that's really that would be adventure sailing. The kind of sailing we do with guests on board, she maxes out between 10 and 12 kilometers an hour, where I say you're not going to risk spilling your glass of wine or ending up with a lap full of your lunch. So with a 2 and 3 hour charter, we're not really going anywhere. We tend to just cruise either west or east down the coastline, depending on which way the wind's blowing. But get a nice view of the vineyards, the beaches, the mansions along the coast here in Niagara. We can head towards Sunset Beach, head towards the Welland Canal, or head the other direction down towards Jordan Harbor. But mostly it's sailing in general, whether it's short distance or long distance, is very much about the journey, not the destination, even though we'll get into it. Some destinations are amazing. Right. So this summer we went nowhere until the very end of the summer. My wife and I sailed across to Toronto for just a private trip, her and I, to go back to Toronto Island at the yacht club where we got married 3 years ago. 3 years, right, baby? 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah. And so that's a 5 or 6 hour trip across the lake. It's beautiful. Being out in the middle of the lake, it's 55 kilometers from here to Toronto Island. Yeah. And that gives us some chance to decompress and actually calm down and relax. It seems like a short trip to me. You barely settle into to your trip before you have to now start concerned about docking and boat traffic and stuff like that as we get into Toronto, which is very busy with boat traffic. But adjusting to that slower pace of life is a big part of sailing, whether short distance or long distance.
Understood. Okay. Well, we're going to get into the questions now.
Sure.
Tell us about the moment you realized sailing wasn't just a hobby. It was your life's calling.
It changed my life in the middle of the Pacific Ocean. I'd been sailing. I started sailing when I was 30. And I was racing off Toronto Island when I worked on Bay Street. And I loved that. And I didn't grow up sailing. I'm not some born sailor. I learned as an adult. Fell in love with it very early on, did a lot of racing, but it was a hobby at that point, not a job.
Mm-hmm.
Then I quit Bay Street, and the first big to go sail around the world on other people's boats, not my own boat. And the first big trip I did was across the Pacific, which is 28 days of no land, from Golfito, Costa Rica to the Marquesa Island chain in northern French Polynesia. And so in the middle of that trip, you see amazing things, your brain slows down. I call it my mental metabolism changes, and that you don't need so much inputs.
Mm-hmm.
You wake up, and I joke that there was 2 shows on every day, the sunrise and the sunset, and otherwise there's nothing really much to watch or do. You're on your watch, you look for other boats, there are none. There's no airplanes, there's no light pollution. All you'll see is some marine life. And being out there, and I saw some magical things, but we won't need to get into that too much. That's when my headspace changed such that it opened the door to me being here at least. I would never have ended up running a boat business if not for my wife, Beth, who's an excellent entrepreneur and probably as much a risk taker as I am in different ways, shapes, and forms. But it evolved from a hobby into a career probably over the span of 7 or 8 years of increasing investment in time, energy, and love.
Okay, so how did those adventures shape the vision for the business?
I think it helped that I grew up not a sailor, because I didn't take it for granted. And I know that a lot of people don't even know where to start, how to view it, what to expect on a 40-foot sailboat. What's that like? Is there a bathroom? Oh, it's a whole 2-bedroom condo downstairs. Things like that. We often get these little questions that just because people are not familiar with big, comfortable boats. And so the process of realizing how much I did not know and how exotic and exclusively, they're on the balcony, how exclusively people view sailing, particularly big boats, as like the realm of only rich people. But it's not that. You can buy a sailboat for quite cheap and enjoy it with your friends and family as a floating patio in the summer for under $10,000 easy.
But that's to buy it though, not to maintain it.
Sure, but a small boat to keep it at the yacht club and put it on a trailer in the winter and do a little bit of maintenance might cost you $3,000-$4,000 a year, which I know is not nothing, but it's certainly less than people expect. Is my main point.
But what about winterizing it? What is the cost of winterizing a boat like that? All
of that for a little 25 or 30-foot boat, not our boat, but a much smaller boat, you could do for $5,000 a year. All of it.
Okay.
Now, again, not everyone's got $5,000 to throw around, and I understand that. I'm not saying it's cheap, but it's cheaper than people think. Small boats have small motors. Winterizing a little diesel or a little gasoline engine is incredibly easy. Winterizing a plumbing system, like winterizing is just putting antifreeze through the plumbing. It's not. It's more complicated than it is expensive. And maintenance and stuff like that. Boats, particularly old boats, stuff can go wrong, but you learn a lot. You really want to be a hands-on person to become a sailor, or at least a boat owner. You kind of got to know everything, because paying somebody.
Practical, I have my pleasure craft license, but I would not dock someone else's boat, or even if I don't have a boat, but if I had one, I wouldn't dock it myself right now, because I see how treacherous it is much more complicated. It's a lot more timing involved than it looks easy, but it's not.
Getting on it. getting on and off dock is the hardest part. That's the
I've
most.
tried it, and my friends have had me practice because they're like, Julia, you have your pleasure craft license. Come on, you need to do something. I said, I have the license. I understand the signs, the red and the green, and I understand all of that. But I'd rather be driven. So go ahead. You guys
Yeah, well,
go
so
ahead.
that's where, yeah, and that's where my business comes in.
Right.
We always say the best boat is somebody else's boat,
Yeah. But
because
I would
somebody
never
else is
borrow
going
it
to
though.
dock it, they're going to fix it, they're going to winterize it, they're going to pay for it, they're going to, stress about it, they're going to make sure it's in great shape and good condition and all of that, and all you have to do is show up and enjoy yourself.
Just show up. Exactly. And I would never, and I've had my friends say, yo, take it for a spin. I'm like, listen, no,
I'm just here to
I'm saying,
enjoy.
yeah, I will sit and relax. You guys do it.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't have that urge to want to do it. There might be there are people that might want to do those things, and that's fine. But I'd rather be driven.
Hey, look it, and that's why we're here, to provide, like, we view ourselves at Niagara Nautico as very much as much about hospitality as about sailing. I could tell sailing stories all day, every day, but being on board, we always say that we'd like the guests to feel like they own that boat, and it's a pretty boat to own. So,
It's a beautiful boat.
the crew and I will wear collared shirts with our little badges on them and stuff like that, to make the guests feel like they're just asking their crew to do something. And so, if you want to show up and just enjoy an experience without having to get your hands dirty, you can do that. We can also, enjoy sharing how to sail and pull some ropes and drive the boat and stuff like that. But a lot of our guests want to sit there and sip a glass of wine and have a snack and enjoy the view.
Or be mermaids. Remember, you're telling me that you had some mermaids on board before, and I
Yeah,
love that
we
so much.
did.
I did that before as well on a boat.
Yeah.
I have a couple videos, and it was just the funniest experience. It's really fun.
If you look at, we have now a big poster site, or a 4x8 foot ad hanging on a brick wall in Port Dalhousie. And the image I chose is a photo that Beth took from far away from the boat. I think she was on her paddleboard. And one of the mermaids we had on board is just flicking her tail in front of the boat. Yeah. And then there's girls sitting on the back of the boat, and they've got their tails on, but you probably wouldn't notice it. But I chose that because it elicits such a joy of imagination. And people are like, is that a mermaid tail in front of that boat?
Yeah,
but yeah,
I love it. I love mermaiding so much. My only thing was I didn't want to do it with the animals in the tank.
Yeah.
Because I really, and people will say like, oh, you meet the animals. Yes, you do. You meet the animals first. They make sure you're comfortable with the animals and all that stuff. But the thing is, they're still in a cage. You know what I mean? Even though it's not a cage, it's a cage to them. And moods and
they're huge.
And they're huge. And even though they're huge, I trust that animal in the wild more than I trust that animal in a cage.
Yeah, that's a very good perspective.
Right?
I've encountered sharks, whales, and dolphins out in nature, and I'd much rather be in the ocean with those creatures than in a cage.
In a cage with them, right? And the thing is, too, I'll tell you one thing before we continue. I was just in Grand Cayman. When was it? It was this year? I think it was around February or March, right? And I always swim to the boats because I have this daredevil thing where I just want to swim to the boats, right? And it's a good, probably I'll say 100 meters, probably 1,000 meters out.
A kilometer out.
No, not 100, not 1,000. Let's say 500 meters out.
Okay, yeah,
that's good. That's good, right?
Small good distance out, yeah. And the boats are at anchor?
Well, I mean, yeah, they're with the ropes and their anchor and everything. So they're out there. So I like to swim out there, right? And my father hates when I do that because he's like, just swim on the coast. Like it's big enough. It's water, but I just want to do it. So I did it. When I went out there was a little tiger shark, a baby tiger shark there, right? And I didn't, the rule in swimming, just like with business, if you panic, you die. But luckily I was right there by the boat. So I knocked on the boat because every time I see the baby, I think mama, right?
Yeah.
Or I think the parentage. Just like when you go on a hike, you see a baby bear, automatically you get scared because you think the mother bear might be there somewhere, right?
Yeah.
So Not on the boat. He's like, "What are you doing out here?"
Oh,
and
they
I,
didn't
and I, and I
expect
said,
you. You just swam out to boats randomly.
"I do,
Oh,
I do,
geez.
I do." But it's like a, I don't know. I have a thrill seeker type of
Clearly,
thing
yeah.
that
Yeah.
just right, and it'll be spontaneous. And I'll look at the distance first because I'm smart, and I do respect the sea. So if there's any kind of, a lot of undercurrent or anything like that, or, if it doesn't look safe, I gauge it. And I gauge how I feel and say, okay, I can take that. I can do it. So, but if I get too tired, of course you stay still and you know what to do. Anyhow, so not on the boat. He said, "What are you doing?" I was like, "There's a tiger shark." So he pulled me up, and then he says, and then, everybody was not there, and they were very nice, very helpful. And then they said, they had a smaller boat, a little motor boat.
Yeah.
And they took me back, and they said, "You're not swimming back to shore." I said, "There was a tiger shark there." So they said,
Yeah.
so yeah, but the only thing is though, my mermaid tail, I don't wear it out deep into the ocean because of the vibration of that big tail. I don't want to call in anything,
To call in the big sharks.
Exactly. Good evening, Invest and TG Media. Good evening. Okay, Invest is asking because he's an entrepreneur as well. He's
Okay.
asking, what about a 28-foot boat? How much would that cost to own? And because he would like to get one in Jamaica, purpose would be for day cruising, partying, and fishing, etc.
So all the pricing that I quote is relative to Ontario.
Ontario, yeah.
So the closer you get to the ocean, the cheaper boats tend to be because everybody seems to want to buy one, and then they get them into the ocean, they realize they're not quite as easy to maintain and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So in Lake Ontario, you probably have the highest boat prices outside of places like maybe New York City or Seattle or wherever where it's just lots of money hanging around the ocean. But if you want to buy a cheaper boat, you can always go down to the Caribbean and find one. I've
Yeah.
never been to Jamaica, and I don't know what maintenance, dockage, winterizing if you have to take the
You
boat
don't
out.
need to winterize it. No.
Well, you probably want to take it out of the water. A 28-foot you can put on a trailer and take it out during hurricane season. I'm not sure how bad Jamaica gets a bit of hurricane.
Yeah, September we have hurricane season, but the thing is, we actually have, well, even what, okay, let me put it this way, because we're so mountainous, we break the hurricane. So a lot of the islands like Grand Cayman, Barbados, all of those other islands, they want the hurricanes to hit Martinique or hit Jamaica first. Because of our mountains, we break the hurricane. So by the time it passed through Jamaica, it slowed down quite a bit, and the intensity has come down quite a bit, right? Hurricane Ivan, because it didn't go through Jamaica, it did flatten all of Grand Cayman Brac, and Little Cayman. Go ahead, I'm listening.
Oh, I was just going to say, so comparing up here, actually interesting, my mother-in-law wants to buy a 28-foot boat right now.
Mm.
And so all the numbers I was just quoting are basically for that. We've been shopping around. If you could find a great condition 28-foot boat for between 5,000 and 10,000 Canadian,
Mm-hmm.
and then winter and summer dockage, maintenance, and all of that, I would say it'd be $5,000 Canadian for 12 months.
Yeah. Okay.
Translate that to the Jamaican economy and currency, and I have no idea. I suspect it'd probably be a little bit less.
Yeah. And he could probably get one in Grand Cayman and then have it shipped down to Jamaica as well.
Well, that's not you shouldn't ship that. You should sail that.
Sail
But if anybody who needs their boat moved from A to B, tell them to just give me a call and I'll help them with that.
Okay, no worries. All right, let's focus. Niagara Nautico, and you're not drinking, by the way, but Niagara Nautico isn't just about sailing. It's luxury charters and emotional experiences. How do you design a journey that feels both exclusive and deeply personal?
So all of our charters are private trips. We don't have ticketed sales, so everybody on board has come with the group. That business model has its pros and cons because it means that we're not cheap. To take the boat off the dock with 2 crew, preparation, food, water, et cetera, it's an investment for us, and so we can't just say $100 a person. We'll go out with 1 or 2 people.
Right.
So the exclusivity certainly comes from being on board a big, pretty boat that feels like your own. We very much treat guests as if it is their boat. The hospitality is key. You've experienced a tiny portion of that having been on board.
Yes, it is.
But I think that exclusivity and the personality or the personal touches come in the same manner. It's just the hospitality. Both my wife and I and all my crew have hospitality backgrounds. And it's knowing when to storytell and knowing when to shut your mouth,
Right?
knowing when to offer someone to wear the captain's hat and come sit behind the wheel, and knowing when to just pour their wine and let them enjoy their time.
Right.
Different personalities want different amount of engagement from what effectively we could be perceived as the staff. Especially once people get on board and they start to wear their below decks hats, psychologically, I mean.
Psychologically, yeah.
Yeah, and so the night, the highest guest count we can have is 8, and so every trip is personal. In that everyone has time to sail the boat, to chat with me, to chat with Beth, to hear our stories, to ask us questions, and have us ask you questions. But enough time in 2 to 3 hours where you don't have to be engaging with us. You can just spend time with your family and have a beautiful banquet at sunset at anchor on a boat out in Niagara, which seems like a very Mediterranean experience. But for us, you get it here at home.
Right, right.
Yeah.
Okay, let me ask you. What skills should someone learn if they want to work on or launch a yacht charter, whether on deck or behind the scenes? What skills should they learn?
So to get a commercial license, you need 60 days of service. And so first off, you would need a commercial license to do this, which is a barrier to entry for our competition, which is, I guess, somewhere else you get into in your interview. 60 days isn't that hard to get while sailing. Transport Canada had to consider, because I sailed around the world in other people's boats, sometimes for money and sometimes not for money. So I had to go back and get letters from all my captains to say the quality of my service, dedication, and when I was on board, etc. For large boats, there's a very formal process with the captain or whomever, officers, filling out paperwork that has paperwork titles that the government recognizes, etc., etc. When we get down to the small size of Niagara Nautico, my Transport Canada representative had to be creative with all that. So here at least, and I know in the States as well, you need a commercial license. And so if you want to start a yacht charter, you have to go out and start sailing, which is a good idea anyways, because you want to know your way around the boat. Sailing is probably the easiest part of the whole damn thing, frankly, though.
Really? You wouldn't think
God,
that.
Yeah, sailing is not easy in terrible weather. Sailing is not easy if you're sailing a big, complicated boat in geographies that you're not familiar with at night in a fog. We don't do any of that. We sail a 40-foot boat during daytime in water that I'm familiar with good advice and good clearance on weather and stuff like that. So the sailing aspect, barring very niche circumstances, is the easy part. The safety and procedural part of it is probably the most difficult, just to make sure that the boat is ready to host 8 guests safely every day, twice a day. So getting all the way back into small business ownership, very rarely does it seem like the thing that I love doing, which is sailing, is the primary component of my job. Even when I'm sailing the boat, the primary component is safety and hospitality. And so coming to understand how to sail a boat would be a great step 1 in chartering. Getting enough comfort for you to want to go on and off dock 20 times a week with your expensive boat is a second big thing. And then realizing that this is a safety and paperwork and procedural job primarily is probably the biggest barrier to entry, because who wants to do all that? And that's the stuff that you're not getting paid for technically, because that's behind the scenes. That's me working after hours, mornings, nights, springs and falls to make sure the boat is safe and clean and equipped, and the equipment on it is up to date and is not rusting or rotting, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah, all those. Yeah, that's a big. Well, they never see behind the scenes.
Yeah.
Never
That's the
see
thing.
behind the scenes. There's so many moving parts.
And that's perfect too. Like, nobody wants to see behind the scenes. If you've come out and spent your hard-earned money on a 2 or 3 hour experience, you don't want to hear about me cleaning rust off of this or scraping this or,
No, I know. But what I'm speaking about too is other people who probably who think that it's easy to be a sailor or an entrepreneur, or to start a their business, a lot of times they take it as face value, right? And they think that what they see is all there is to it. But there's so much behind the scenes that you actually have to be diligent about, right?
Sure. Like any small business has
Yeah.
far more to it than the customer sees. If you run a deli, right, you go in there, you buy some meat, and you go home. And you
Yeah.
think, okay, the butcher has to know about meat, and the customer can say, I love meat. And you assume that the butcher has to know how to work his cash register. And you're like, oh, well, that's easy. I can figure that out. But
Right.
then there's the licensing required for that, and Health Canada, and refrigeration,
Refrigeration
and inventory management,
and
and all
storage.
these things, like in capital investment, and the parts that customers don't see. I very rarely get the impression that people think my job is easy with
Right.
sailing, despite it being obviously an enjoyable thing. They see the big boat. It weighs 20,000 pounds, and it has a steering wheel but no brakes. And so getting it on and off of dock is a hard enough thing that, you know, we don't really need to get into the maintenance or get into the various complications. And that's just the boat, ignoring licensing, insurance,
Right.
finances, all those things.
Wrapping it for
Yeah.
winter.
Yeah, well,
All of that.
and staffing and everything like that. So
Gassing and all of that.
I've never got the impression that this particular business seems easy, quote unquote. But our
Right.
other business, we run a photo booth company. Quite often, people will think that's an easy business to run.
I know.
And I see the graveyard of skeletons of photo booth companies laying around
Right? Oh my goodness.
Ontario
Exactly.
to prove that any small
Exactly.
business is a lot harder to run than you think.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. I was reading a quote the other day. I should remember where I get these quotes from, but it was one of the books that I was reading. And it says, everybody sees your decision, but nobody sees the choices that you had to make. And that kind of,
It
gave me pause.
it's yeah. The things
Yeah.
that you didn't do, the choices, the roads that you didn't
Right.
take. Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
The roads that we took and why we took them and what it is that we were trying to preserve when we took them. And we're always faced with these crossroads choices as entrepreneurs, always, when it comes on to even protecting our own brands, So
There's a lot to it,
there's
and
a
my
lot
wife and
to
I
it.
talk about it constantly. I
Yeah.
used to be a 9 to 5 corporate guy, and
Yeah.
so the change is very stark for me.
Right.
There's no more paycheck, there's no more pension, there's no more dental plan,
Right.
and everybody
Exactly.
knows that. But everyone says, "Oh, you get to be your own boss,"
But
and et cetera, et cetera. And that's fine. That's all fine and good. My wife always says she wishes we could hire someone to be our boss,
right.
because then it would just free us up to do the
It
things
just
that we
frees us
want
up
to do.
at 5 o'clock. You're done. Right.
Yeah, yeah.
Right. So yeah, no. It's true. It's very true. But you have the passion for it. You love it, and you love your guests. You love your passengers. Because even when I was there, I felt it. I felt like he wants to make this an experience for me, like for us. You know what I mean? So it was. I key into that. Is a certain pride that you guys have. So I appreciate that. Okay. So, how did you position yourself in the market when you first started?
Well, so I say this a lot, I guess, but one of my favorite quotes is, "When you've got no competition in business, you're either very smart or very stupid." And
I love that. Yes.
and we're still trying to figure out which one we are, because we have no competition. We're the only legal sailboat charter in
Yeah.
Niagara, and I know why that is the case.
Yeah.
But a lot of people say, "Well, why? Why? Everyone should do this." Well, there's a lot of work that goes involved, and it's an expensive business to
Yes.
run. So how do we position ourselves? I benefit from having on staff that is Beth, my wife, an incredible photographer and social media
Yeah.
guru expert. She's not a social media manager, but we needed to we needed to show people what this experience would be when they don't know what a 40-foot sailboat is or feels like. Everyone's been on a boat at some point in their life, and some people have been on a ferry. Some people think a sailboat's the same as a catamaran down in the islands when you go for one of those booze cruises. Some people think that it's like below decks, and some people have been on their uncle's tin can fishing boat where they're drinking Bud Lights all day, and there's
Yeah.
no bathroom, right? And so the hardest part with us is a 40-foot sailboat is a medium-sized sailboat, and it's got all the comforts of a small cottage: 2 bedrooms, full kitchen, full bathroom, 2 showers, seating above and below decks for 8. And people can't picture that when you just look at the outside.
Right.
And so a lot of what we have to do is show the experience before people get on board. And so the biggest thing was having people eat the food, drink the wine, jumping over the sides, swimming, splashing, smiling, the convey the sense of joy and exotic, however I want to say it, the Mediterranean, the Caribbean. I'm not in Ontario anymore feeling that you really truly get on a beautiful day on the sailboat. That's how we position ourselves. In the market makes it sound like we have competition. We don't. There's a gentleman that runs this business in Toronto, and he doesn't come down this way. And there's 2 gents that just started this business in Hamilton, and we'll see if they come this way. I hope they don't. Boys, don't come this way. It's getting to a point now where we had enough business this year that I was full, which is lovely. But that just makes Beth want to buy a second boat instead of opening the room for competition.
Yeah, I'm in your position too when it comes on to the competition, when it comes on to the event service, like going to events and giving breath tests.
Oh yeah, no
Every
competition.
Time, right? No, everybody has always said this should be everywhere. You should be everywhere, right? Nobody else, but only my partner, who is in Montreal, does it sometimes, and he's the only one too. So anyway, let me zip it because I don't want everybody to think that it's a business.
Well, I mean, it's a good point about niche businesses that it's hard for people to think of them, and then once they see them, they can realize, ooh, this is a great idea. They want to be involved, or they know someone that might want to be involved, or a potential customer, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
But it takes that risk on mindset to want to invest your time, energy, and passion into these things, right?
Yeah.
And not everyone has that.
Exactly. You have to love it.
Yeah.
You gotta love it. Okay, so do you have a favorite charter story?
Yes, absolutely, I do.
Tell me about it.
So last year, we give a lot of sales away to charity, for charity auctions, because it's a high ticket charity item that benefits a charity, that gets a group on board, that costs us nothing except our time and effort, because we've already bought the boat. We can get them some lunch on board for a couple of bucks. It's BYOB, so they can bring their own wine. So to take a charity group out for us feels like an easy way to give a charity effectively $1,000 or $2,000. So we had a charity group on, and they were in support of the education. I think Bethlehem House. We had supported Empty Bowls, and the group from Empty Bowls came on, and I just happened to know one of the guests from my life 20 years ago in Toronto, and so that was kind of a cute little connection. And so her and her husband and a bunch of couples came, and we went out, and the weather turned from pleasant to kind of adventurous, not dangerous, but windier than you would have liked. And there's whitecaps nipping at the boat out on the lake. And the woman that I knew, her hat blew away. And I'd warned everybody to put their hats away because it was getting breezy. And we're talking 17, 20 knots of wind. So like the high end of comfortable, but nowhere near dangerous. Just, okay, guys, the wind's blowing a little bit now. And her hat blows off the side. And I'm like, I told you to put that away. And we're watching it blow away now because we're moving fast and the lake is moving fast. And she gives this puppy dog look like, but that's my Mykonos hat, she says.
Aww.
And they, everyone was excited and having a great time. And they're all a little bit, hopped up on excitement. And they're like, the hat, we have to get the hat. So I'm like, okay, baby, turn the boat around. So we turn the boat around and we start chasing this white hat, this lady's white hat, in a lake full of whitecaps. The little.
How are you going to see that?
Exactly. How are you going to see it? And like the sky had turned gray and the water was gray, and it wasn't raining or uncomfortable other than that. But we sailed around the lake for 30 minutes, and then we see the hat. I'm like, holy crap, there's the hat. So I get a boat hook, which is like a extendable 6 to 10 foot hook that you use to grab things. And I get it. And like, so Beth's driving the boat and I'm leaning over the side and I just missed the damn hat. I'm like, oh, sorry. She's like, my Mykonos hat. So, everyone's like, okay, we're going to give up now. And at that point, we had to turn around to come home because we'd gotten so far from Port Dalhousie that it was going to take us 45 minutes to get home.
Right.
So I hadn't given up on the hat, but we weren't going to change direction. We headed for home. But I'm up on deck basically looking around while Beth drives and entertains in the cockpit. I'm like, that's off there, 600 feet to the north. And so Beth looks out and sees that, or doesn't see the hat, I'm assuming, and just turns to port, and we head out into the lake again. And like, if no one can see the hat, and I don't know how I could see the hat because I'm getting blind. But we go out there, and then we all could see the hat, and the group they were 12 out of 10 in excitement.
Of course.
And I lean over the side, and I got the boat hook, and I grabbed the hat. I managed to grab it this time in the
Everybody
wave.
is cheering.
Yeah, everyone's cheering. There's a video of it. There's dancing. She puts this wet hat back on her head, and then we put it downstairs so it didn't blow away again. And but the fact that she got this hat back that she got in Greece years ago on vacation was very much a fun adventure. It was a good exercise in Beth and I managing the boat to go and pick things up if they'd fallen overboard.
Yeah.
It was a good to kind of save the day for our guests.
Yeah.
And then to have a great little story that comes out of it.
And go with the flow.
Sorry.
And to just go with the flow as well.
Yeah, well, I mean, it is about hospitality. If it was for a safety consideration, I probably would have said your hat's screwed, lady. But it was, no one was going to get hurt by me trying to get the hat. And instead, we had to take the sails down because you can't be doing figure eights with the sail up.
Right.
So we're just motoring around Lake Ontario trying to find this hat. And then she wore the hat back this year. So this time it wasn't as windy, so she kept the hat. And I tell that story every time someone comes on board and they've got wearing a hat. I'm like, well, you got to watch your hat because.
Watch your hats. But you know what, though, Russ? To be honest, that's such a wonderful story because I'm sure everybody else remembers that story.
Oh yeah,
everybody on board. Go ahead.
The gentleman that won the charity auction last year bid on it again this year because he had so much fun. Mm-hmm. And this year we couldn't even leave dock because it was so windy. And some of his group, which were all new friends this year, they were grumbling a little bit. And the winner said, "Oh no, we went out last year and the wind picked up and it was nothing like this, and we lost a very important hat. So we're not going out today," he said. And so it definitely created a strong memory for everybody on board.
Yeah. You know what? I think may I use that story in one of my my books?
Please, books? Yes, of course. Yeah.
I love that. I love that story. It's interesting. Okay. If someone is dreaming of starting their own yacht charter, because we do have some entrepreneurs that really want to start their own yacht charter. They want to take people around even the Caribbean, right? But just from your point of view, I know that you don't have the experience of the Caribbean when it comes there. But if someone is dreaming of starting their own yacht charter, what's the first investment they should make? Should it be skills, certifications, or community connections?
Skills, go out and start sailing, because or power boating if you want to do a yacht, like a power yacht charter. Mm-hmm. Go get that experience and make sure you don't get seasick. Make sure you enjoy it. Make sure that you enjoy docking and undocking and all the technical parts of it. The 80% of the running this business is not sailing people around and having fun. It's maintenance. And so that skill is important, but that's not the barrier to entry, at least not in Canada. I'm not sure, depending on which country you're talking about, the barrier to entry is could definitely be certifications. So look now into what certifications you may need, because if you're just starting from scratch, even if you are or are not a sailor or a boater, you're probably looking at years of investment of time before your local certification board, Transport Canada up here, will accept that you are good enough to put people's lives into your hands.
You know what? Let me stop you there. Right now, it's just pause 1 second. It's 44 minutes.
Yeah.
So let me put on the timer for 20 minutes or till you're done with yours.
Sure.
I basically had a standard drink already. So this is a standard drink. So when you're finished, we're going to do it. So we're going to start. And it's starting. So let's continue. When
Okay.
it's done, you use a breathalyzer. Yeah, continue.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
So it's a long runway
Mm-hmm.
into the amount of time it takes or to get the experience that we need here in Canada, and I'm sure it's the same in a lot of places.
Right.
Once you, like, if you want to start soon, start your business soon, then start the certification process yesterday.
Right.
Look
Right.
into it. How many boxes do you have to check? Now, if the country that you're in doesn't care so much, or you can get away with it, pause to consider the safety implications of having people's lives in your hands out there in the ocean.
Right.
And think about, okay, how comfortable do I want to be with this boat, its equipment, my crew with the boat and the equipment, to risk having people on board if a squall comes up? Because we don't get squalls in Lake Ontario, but you definitely get squalls down there in the Caribbean. And if you're sailing offshore, there's no guarantee of being able to get back to sheltered water before the squall hits you.
Right.
So even if you're an experienced fisherman or sailor, a squall hitting you is one thing. You turn into it, you reduce sail, you turn up the motor, X, Y, and Z things. You just hunker down. For the most part, it's not dangerous. But imagine handling 8 inexperienced sailors on board who may panic, who may do stupid things, who may not know what to do, and who need calm direction. Do you really want to be responsible for that?
Yeah. Yeah. So you have to have a certain temperament as well.
Oh God, yes.
You definitely have to. You definitely have to respect the ocean.
Oh yeah, but your temperament, like, people pick up on energy very much. So you have to be
Very well.
calm.
You have to be
This is
calm.
not a job for a jittery person.
It isn't. It isn't. Yeah. Yeah. It is. It's true. The same thing with swimming and
Yeah.
mermaiding. If you panic, you die. That's it.
Yeah.
Okay. What was the aha moment? Well, you know what? You did answer that. I was going to ask, what was the aha moment that made you realize Niagara needed a charter yacht service, and that you were the one to build it? Or was it that you had that moment, or was it that you just wanted to do this for the rest of your life and you just said, you know what, Niagara is the place?
Niagara is definitely the place. It is such a tourist destination, both domestic tourists and international tourists, that it has a gravity here that, other than Toronto, we couldn't. You'd be hard pressed to do this in a lot of other geographies in Canada. The aha moment was, I'm the only one. Beth and I are the only ones that are going to do this, if anyone's going to do it, because frankly, it's not a great financial investment.
Yeah.
I used to make a lot more money than I currently do. And so
Right.
you really have to love it. And how many people are going to give up their financial security to do a job that they love for, frankly, 4 months a year?
Yeah. No.
So
Yeah.
our unique combination of skills and risk appetite and, frankly, cheap lifestyle was the thing that said that we will be the ones to do this, and we'll be the ones that can succeed at this. But the aha of the region needing it was, people need to get out on the water and experience it and realize that sailing is not just for rich old white folks sitting around the yachts in the Mediterranean sipping expensive champagne. It's being on the water is such a joy that everyone should get that chance.
Everybody.
And boat tourism is increasing down here in port. The Chippewa 3 just started up, the Port Dalhousie Cruise Lines. There's one other powerboat company called Niagara Boat Experiences. They do private charters here as well. And the price points between all 3 of us are quite varied.
Quite very.
But they allow an increasing cut section of society to get on board boats, which is usually not the case.
Yeah. Yeah, and the tourism, and as I said, society is changing. Remember when I was talking to you about, so you said that you do weddings, and I said I don't want to be morbid, but maybe funerals would be a really good avenue, because someone like me who wants to go back to the sea, right? Because that's my wish, as I said before. When I pass, I want my ashes to be burned. Whoever loves me at the time, they can keep half. And the other half, I want it scattered in the sea, because I love the ocean so much.
Yep.
So it would be really great to have a nice ceremony on a nice yacht, especially because everybody who would be there would know that Julia is off the sea, right? Mermaid needs to go back to the water. So that is something too that I think, is niche. Maybe not a lot of people are doing it, but you'll probably be surprised, because, and whenever I bring it up, people always say, yeah, you know what? I do want to be scattered in the sea.
We had one we call a celebration of life. We had a celebration of life on board this year where family came on to spread the ashes of their son who had passed away from cancer, quite young. And he was a relatively new Canadian, but he loved Niagara, so they brought his ashes here to spread it on Lake Ontario. I'm with you in that when I pass away, I just want to be burnt and chucked into the lake in a some sort of can. If someone would be kind enough to spread my ashes off the back of a beautiful boat, then that's amazing too.
Yeah.
We did have a few inquiries for that, but just timing and family and logistics, only one of them worked out. I haven't done a ceremony for it. I feel that being an officiant, a wedding officiant, you get comfortable with spirituality and deep emotional situations.
Yes.
And especially given that I would also want to be buried at sea, as it were.
Yeah.
That the empathy I have for the situation, I think could lend itself to having an enjoyable experience. So yes.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah, you're so open-minded. You and Beth both. I mean, that's wonderful. Even though I haven't spoken to her, she must be because all of
You've
this.
never spoken with her?
I think I've spoken with her probably once or twice, but not really at length,
No.
right?
Yeah, like a networking event or
Right,
something
but
like
I
that.
mean,
Yeah.
she's all over it because you can tell, like, women, we are the driving
She is
force,
it's
right?
funny, like her only hobbies are starting businesses, she says,
Yeah,
and entrepreneurship. And so
yeah,
she's in networking groups and business groups, and she's
right,
always wanting to mentor people and be mentored by other people,
right,
which is a huge part of entrepreneurship. Is like you don't learn it in business school, and
right.
you
You
don't
learn it
learn it
by
from mom or
doing,
dad,
right?
unless your parents were entrepreneurs, but then they probably weren't the kind of entrepreneur you're going to be.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly, 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 exactly. That's what I mean. Like, you can tell when women are supporting a business. It just has a different feel. Like a lot of things are being considered then.
Yeah.
That's what I mean, right? So that's what I mean. Okay, so you're offering something luxury yet deeply personal. How did you craft the brand and the voice and the aesthetic of Niagara Nautico?
That was a getting back to wanting to make it feel Mediterranean.
Mm-hmm.
I want people to feel like they've gone on a trip to Europe or to the Caribbean, but there's a slightly different vibe there because, like, I've never sailed in the Mediterranean.
Mm-hmm.
It just seems very fancy and exotic
Yeah, it is.
and frankly expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And I've sailed extensively in the Caribbean, and I think that I probably will enjoy the Caribbean more once I get to compare it with the Mediterranean. But we want to offer a Mediterranean experience because we're not cheap, frankly.
Right,
And another reason, because a lot of people, when they think of Caribbean sailing, they think of the big catamarans that are just booze cruises,
right.
and we are not that. We are decidedly not a booze cruise.
Good.
And so if I shook out or shaped us out like a Caribbean experience, people would think rum and turtle diving and stuff like that. And that's not, obviously, we're not doing turtle diving, but it's not the kind of experience you're going to get on board. This is more sipping champagne in the south of France kind of thing.
Mhm. The only
And
reason
then,
people think that though is because of the loud advertising for the Caribbean booze brands. But there's a lot of other Caribbean cruises that are
of
kind of
course,
like yours, right? But anyway, continue. I'm listening to you. I'm listening.
right. So the branding and the voice and all of that is
Mhm.
the voice changes as we see what works with guests and what appeals to our audience, which also evolves. We've gone from stiff and formal to a bit more storytelling ish. We
Mhm.
found that the storytelling nature of our experiences really helps build guest engagement. Very few groups want to come on and just be ignored. They want to engage with us to learn about the boat, learn about sailing, hear my stories about sailing around the world, really engage in the hospitality of being on board. And so we've leaned more into that brand voice this year by being more storytelling-y than presenting, if you know what I
Right,
mean. We're
right.
not just showing, we're engaging.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But overall, the aesthetic is still an attempt to have that Monaco classy nautical underline to everything, which is frankly an easy brand to
Yes.
to evoke, because many luxury brands will try to evoke that vibe, even if they're just a jewelry brand or a clothing brand or a car brand that has nothing to do with sailing. Everybody wants to evoke the yacht life.
Yeah, because it's
So
aspirational.
yes, and so to actually be a
Aspirational.
yacht company, it's not that difficult for us to evoke the yacht life.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I mean, it's smart and it's good marketing. And okay, so I did advertising copywriting for my postgrad here at Humber, actually. And
Okay.
that is something that we learned um, when it comes to people wanting that aspiration, because not only is it an escapism from regular 9 to
Yep.
5 traffic life, but people like to see themselves a certain
Yes.
way,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
So
Yes. They want to picture themselves as part of a world. Yeah.
exactly. That's fine. Hey, who am I to judge? I am mermaid tail.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who am I to judge? I don't judge anybody for their escapism or what they,
Yes.
once they're not
Yeah.
hurting other people or not hurting their minds with, with DR, you know what? But yeah. Okay, so what was the hardest part? Hi, Queen Lakeisha, Mr. Thanks. Happy Sunday to you too, my dear. What was the hardest part of getting the business off the dock? Logistics, marketing, regulations, or something else?
So once we got past all that stuff I talked about earlier about my licensing, which turned out to not be the hardest part of this business, it was just something that we couldn't have started on day one and then on day 30 had my licensing. I needed to have years of experience already. I had that before we started this, so that fast tracked a bit of that. Frankly, insurance was probably one of our biggest hassles, because the number of insurance companies that I approached and they said, "What do you want to do?" Even though it's not like we're reinventing the wheel here, it's this is a business that exists, that is done around the world. That if I could get Transport Canada to sign off on my safety, my experience in the boat safety, then why wouldn't you insure it? But we went through dozens of insurance companies from all types, and ended up, not surprisingly, being insured through a broker that operates out of London, England, where Europe is, they know their boats.
Yeah.
Marketing regulations. Yeah, no, navigating the complexities of the bureaucracy of Transport Canada was part of it.
Yes. Yeah.
Checking the right boxes, making sure I understood what needed to be done so we weren't caught unaware by a corner of our business when the government said, "Oh, you also need to make sure you need blah blah blah." And if blah 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 didn't fit on our boat, we were screwed,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You need to have a ramp on your boat. Well, you can't put a ramp on a sailboat,
Yeah.
right? So it was a lot of planning in advance, which very much slowed us down because it was starting from scratch with the bureaucracy, which is not always fun.
Right.
But the pleasant thing about bureaucracy is that there's an answer. There's a box to check. There's the right answer. And if you can find the right answer, then you can proceed.
Right.
It's not very subjective.
Right.
And having a banking background, I appreciated that, because we're not looking for subjectivity. We're looking for objectivity. But yeah, it was, in Canada, at least, operating this, the biggest part is making sure that you understand the bureaucratic quagmire. That's too strong a word. It's Byzantine.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
I think Ontario probably was more of a challenge, probably, when it comes down to Ontario and insurance, etc.
Ontario, I didn't have to deal with Ontario at all. We are federal.
Right.
Because it's Transport Canada, and my Transport Canada representative has been fantastic. In Transport
good.
Canada in general, the city has been incredibly supportive of us.
That's good.
So we very early on approached the municipality to say, "Here's what we'd like to do. We're going to need to use your docks. How do you feel about that?" And they said things that you'd expect, like, "What's your safety procedures? What's your insurance situation? What does Transport Canada think?" But we approached the city in a very, we want to talk to you and solve a problem that you have. I went into the secondary plan for Port Dalhousie and looked at all the words that they want to use for tourism in Port Dalhousie, and I regurgitated it back at them, because it's exactly what we're doing. Increasing tourism access to the waterfront we checked that box. So
Right.
the municipality was fantastic to deal with, frankly, which
Good.
I sometimes hear as a surprising answer to questions like that. But
Yeah, well, yeah, and especially because it's so niche, and as you said, there's no competition. So the first person that they're dealing with that wants to do this, a lot of times it's a lot of you know, back and forth and passing to this person, then passing to the next person, then we don't know how to do this type of thing. So
we've definitely gotten passed around departments a few times.
right.
But St. Catharines specifically and Transport Canada as a federal agency I feel like they've bent their bureaucratic rules to be more like, oh, there's no box for this. How do we check box a box if there's no box?
Exactly.
I guess we have to write a new box. And you don't expect a government agency to say that.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. It's true. Okay. So what's one decision that felt risky at the time but paid off massively for Niagara Nautico?
Buying a $200,000 sailboat instead of buying a house.
Yeah, that
The boat
investment was
is what we should have spent. A smart couple would have spent on a house. We still rent. And so here we are at mid 40s staring at not owning real estate and instead purchasing a very expensive depreciating asset.
yeah,
So that was risky at the time and is still risky.
it's still risky. It's still risky.
Yeah.
It's still risky. But it's
But
okay. It's working.
yeah, very much so. This year we did more than twice what we did last year.
Mhm.
People are aware of us. We keep hearing our name now out in the wild, as I say. People will talk about us. They will recognize Beth or I and say, "Oh my God, I saw you on Instagram," or
Yeah.
one of my friends was on board your boat, or I heard about you on the radio, or something like that. And that makes it worthwhile as people start to get aware of the option that we exist. Yeah.
You know what I like, and what I noticed too, and why I said too that it seems like as if Beth is all over it, because a book that I was reading the other day. Oh my God, Julia, you have to do better at learning. Remember the names of these books. I don't remember which one it was. I was reading two at a time. Basically, they were talking about picking a partner as an entrepreneur. And they were saying that your partner has to have the same risk comfort as you for it to actually mesh well, and for both gifts to be, to come together when it comes to building anything, building business, right?
Yeah, very
And
much
just
so.
because of the soft skill of how I see Niagara Nautica and the attention to detail, right? That makes me think that, okay, definitely a woman is involved, not saying anything bad about you guys,
No, no,
but
no. Like I looked at doing this 10 years ago,
yeah,
and I could have sailed a boat and provided decent hospitality.
right.
But I don't think I would have had anybody on board because I wouldn't know how to have got people aware of my business or how to
Right,
tell the story of the business until you got on board. And Beth can tell the story of the business before you're on board, which is 95% of the hard part.
right, right,
Yeah.
right. So the risk factor, the fact that she's just as much of a risk taker, as you. That's
More
what the
so.
book was saying, that you guys, for entrepreneurs to really get together, or for somebody to marry an entrepreneur, they have to have the same or comfort risk level, right?
Oh, very much so.
Right.
Like I
Yeah.
consider I'm more conservative than she is when it comes to risks.
Right.
But we both have a high risk appetite relative to your average human being.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Right. So that's what I always say. The risk is not the problem. The risk assessment. You just have to just make sure that you look at them. Just like when I was telling you, swimming to the boat, you look at it and you say, can I take that today? Maybe if it's tomorrow, maybe I'm too tired, I won't be able to take it, right? Maybe
Yeah.
the winds are in, but if it looks regularly calm, 500 meters, I'm feeling strong.
I can do this. Yeah.
You can go. But,
Yeah.
baby tiger sharks happen. Okay. So, how do you keep the business evolving while still protecting the personal boutique feel that makes it so very special?
Well, so there's a good question. The sailboat itself was so full for those 4 or 5 beautiful weeks we had this summer that we couldn't have taken any more guests out. I was 7 days a week, 14 hours a day on the boat. And so how do we expand? One, this is a hard business to expand because of all the bureaucratic licensing required in having a captain. Thanks to the graduating tier system, Beth now has a smaller commercial captain's license and can take out a smaller boat. So we're looking at providing ancillary nautical offerings that fit into our vibe, aesthetic, brand voice, as it were, without just being another sailboat.
Mhm.
And I'll leave some of those for surprises for Instagram down the road.
Right.
But you know, there's businesses that we can append to this that complement rather than just dilute it.
Right.
But even say, here's something: if everyone can picture one of those beautiful wood Italian boats, like a power boat that they're all wood. You see them in Indiana Jones. That's where I think of them.
Yeah.
But like a really beautiful boat. Imagine we had one of those for our service, that if only a couple wanted to go out and have their photo taken, we could accomplish that. We have a licensed captain, a professional photographer, and a beautiful boat. You don't need to take the big 40-foot boat out. We could take out the smaller 20, 22-foot power boat and go have a shorter experience, very targeted towards a romantic thing, a proposal, an engagement, whatever it may be. And that still feels boutique and personal, et cetera, while complementing our brand in general.
Love it. I love
Yeah.
it. You guys have such a great vision, and that's what I love. You know,
I mean, Beth has most of the vision. I just make the things work.
No, I know. When I say you, I mean her. I mean,
Oh,
I'm
okay,
joking.
good. Yeah.
I'm joking.
I just
I'm
fix
joking.
the diesels and
I
winterize
know.
the boats and yeah.
You do this stuff. I understand. I'm joking. But
Yeah.
listen, so we're right on time. 20 minutes have passed, right?
Okay.
So I'm going to tell everybody about this. We are going to try together our single-use breathalyzers. They are FDA approved, TUV certified, and Mothers Against Drunk Driving endorses this product. They require no batteries, people, no batteries.
How do
So
I
just
open
one
it?
quick use can help someone know exactly where they stand before they go behind the wheel or walk off the dock, right? So they're perfect for weddings, for yacht parties. They're perfect for festivals or any place where we gather and raise a glass. So let's make safety a part of our celebration, not an afterthought. So let's actually try these breathalyzers now. Russ, you know how to use it? Push it in together like this.
So I don't take the caps off?
No, you push both in like this. You have to push it all in to compress it because there's two foil linings on
Yeah.
both sides that you have to break. So did you break the foil linings?
Yeah, I think so.
When you look through it, do you see right through? The foil is gone?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So what we're gonna do now is you're gonna blow for 10 seconds and then you're gonna blow for another 10 seconds. So you ready?
Yeah.
Ready. That's 10. You should start feeling warm already. And then another 10. Okay, should be warm. Do you feel like it's warm?
Yeah, it heated up.
Great. So yeah, it heats up because the chemical reaction with the salts, right? So the
Interesting.
final color is going to show at 4 minutes. But look at mine already. Can you see mine? Mine is already
Yeah. Mine looks pinkish too.
right. So mine is already at 0.02, even though I had a standard drink, and I'll tell you why. This morning when I had the pasta, it was early. It was about 8:30, and I don't eat early. That's just so strange to me, right? But I was just hungry this morning. 8:30, I had pasta, and I've been tired. Like I have not. I had a busy day yesterday. Had a busy morning. Had a busy week. So I've been sleeping on average about 5 hours a day.
Wow.
When usually I sleep 6 or 6.5, right? So
Okay.
kind of so that affects your BRAC reading. That's the point. So how tired you are affects your BRAC reading, how much you've eaten, right? Your hydration and all of that. So right now I've actually climbed to about 0.03. Can you
Okay.
see? So where are you now?
I would say I'm still at 0.02.
Right. You have more muscle than I have. Yeah. You're still about a 0.02. So let's let it wait for 4 minutes, but let me just ask you these final questions.
Sure.
Well, you answered that as well. Well, let me ask you this. So we just use the single-use breathalyzers during the live. Do you see the value in offering something like this at private sales, weddings, or after parties on your charter?
Absolutely. Yeah. Like there's no hassle or harm to it. Having it on board and telling guests that I have it on board, absolutely. Why wouldn't I?
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to pressure people or make them feel uncomfortable, but remind them of their responsibilities. Both Beth and I have Smart Serve,
Yeah.
and we are not licensed to sell alcohol on board, but we're legally allowed to serve alcohol on board
Right.
as a passenger carrying vessel.
Right.
So we have to be very cognizant of consumption. And while people may be enjoying for 3 hours, they're 98% of them are getting back and going in the car. Now,
Exactly.
with a group of 8, usually there's only 2 or 3 drivers. And so we usually ask, how many cars did you come in, et cetera, and keep an eye on that. That's kind of a low-key way for us to manage alcohol consumption and keep an eye on certain people. But it's definitely having these on board would be a great little subtle way of, if we think that folks have had a drink too many, we could say, okay, why don't you take a walk afterwards? Or, oh, here's our breathalyzers, everybody. Who would like to try one? And or would you like to just go for a walk after your sale? Don't make them try the breathalyzer if they know that they're going to fail it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And just for the fun and the novelty of it, they would love to see where they are. What would it mean for the charter and events industry if safety tools like the breathalyzers became a standard part of the celebration culture?
Nothing but good.
Yeah.
Like Canada in general, I've traveled quite extensively. Canada has a medium to high comfort level with regular alcohol consumption. It's not a strict part of the culture here, but it's definitely a casual part of the culture here.
Mhm.
There's places in the world where they drink a lot more than we do, but there's places in the world where they drink a lot less too. Introducing safety tools like this, particularly easy, storable, safe, convenient, like private, do it yourself in the bathroom kind of thing.
Mhm.
Only positive, right?
Mhm.
I love hearing stories that young folks drink less than us old people,
Yeah.
which is great.
Mhm.
But my audience is not unfortunately, my audience is not young,
Mhm.
just for the boat business by nature of our price tag, I think.
Mhm.
And so we definitely market ourselves as a place where you can come out and have a glass of wine, like a lot of Niagara tourism businesses do. So
Yeah.
adding this as a complementary aspect of that is positive for sure.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. Okay. Well, I don't know if you can tell us, but I'll ask you. Looking to the future, what dreams do you have for Niagara Nautical? New routes, new partnerships, new celebrations. I know some things we have to keep hidden behind the veil until it starts to manifest.
Well,
But
there's one that has to stay hidden, but it's a health and wellness aspect of the business.
Mhm.
There's 2 aspects or 2 routes that we could take as far as growth, and one is far more tangible right now.
Mhm.
We'd like to start offering private tours in the Bahamas,
Mhm.
where I've sailed extensively, and I haven't started my own advice of going through the bureaucratic process yet of opening a business, getting my commercial licensing done there, etc.
Mhm.
But during the winter months, where our boat's out of the water up here, we'd like to offer private catamaran experiences down south,
Mhm.
where guests that have already become comfortable with Beth and my hospitality, our safety concerns, our personalities, etc., would
Mhm.
fly down, come on a boat for a week, and let us treat them to that hospitality in a more exotic location for an all-inclusive price. And then we can be sailing you around, provide food, provide drinks, provide local guidance, et cetera, in a place that otherwise a lot of folks wouldn't think of. How do you trust somebody to get on their boat for 10 days in a different part of
Right.
the world, right?
Right.
So we're already laying the groundwork for having an audience for that by dipping their toe in the water up here,
Mhm.
to say, well, would you like to spend a significant amount more money to come down and spend 10 days with us sailing through a slightly more exotic part of the world? So that's probably our biggest next step. As far as having 5 boats up here, I don't have any real goals for that.
Right.
It's a hard business to run, maintain, and make money on. And what we do right now is kind of, a one person's income, two person's income kind of job.
Right.
Scalability is tough based on the guest count. If we had a much bigger boat, we could have bigger events. We regularly get inquiries for 50, 60, 70 person weddings, and we can only fit 8 people. So if I could offer a beautiful old, big old yacht, but not like a modern Miami yacht, more like an old school New York old money yacht that couples could have a 50 person wedding on, I think that'd be a great way to expand our business without having to add, well, it add a nightmare for me as far as maintenance goes, but that's my problem.
Well, we're right on time. So we're one last question, and we're actually at 1 hour and 15 minutes. So to just respect your time as well, where exactly are you now? I'm at definitely 0.03.
Yeah, I would say I'm probably at 0.03 as well, actually, like slightly above 0.02.
Yeah, that's me. Can you see? Yeah, I see you too. Yeah.
Or close enough to
We're close
0.02,
enough. Yeah,
but
so we both had a standard drink. But yeah, you ate a lot today, and I had this morning pasta, and I'm tired, so that's why. So, last question. What legacy do you and the lovely Beth hope to leave? And you know what? Scratch that. What does success look like a decade from now for you both? What does success look like for you? What's the vision?
getting to sail my boat more than 3 or 4 months a year.
Yeah,
For both of us, I think having the freedom to do creative projects.
yeah.
I've always said since quitting corporate life that I don't want to sell my time for money, which is a
Right.
concept that is key to a lot of entrepreneur lives, but a lot of us
Yes.
quickly
Yes.
forego because
Yes.
instead of working 40 hours a week, we now work 24 hours a day.
Yes. Yeah.
But I would like to claw back some of that time at some point to be able to work on creative projects
Right.
and have some of our other businesses somehow finance that.
Right.
So either by growth or intellectual property
Yeah.
revenue or anything like that.
We're all working for freedom, Russ. We're all working for freedom. Like honestly, all my entrepreneur friends, every time I have this discussion, I ask them, and they said, Julie, ask these questions. I said, well, and they think about it, and they all say that like we love what we're doing, but we do want to get to a place where we earn the right to actually step away from it a bit or relax into it a bit, right?
Well, that's the only reason that you would go through the hard work of starting a business
Yeah.
and go through the grinding and the pain and the financial risk and
Yeah.
the 24 hours a day of thinking about it. You don't turn it off.
Right.
If in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever it may be, the payoff is not just in dollars, because you can earn
Right.
money doing a lot of jobs, but the
Right.
payoff is in freedom
Freedom.
or,
That's
and
exactly
or
what it
flex
is. Freedom.
or flexibility. Yeah.
Right.
So, if it was just financial income, I would have stayed doing a bank job and we would have had a
Exactly.
cottage and a nice car, et cetera, et cetera.
Exactly.
That's not the point. The point is to have the freedom to just go and write books while Beth takes photos.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Freedom for me would be mermaiding, listening to music, um, just eating what I want to eat, just mermaiding and listening to music, and
That
knowing
sounds
that
like a
this
good
is
life.
in every store. Pardon?
That sounds like a good life.
That right? And knowing
Yeah.
that this is in every store and it's mandatory, and people are safe on the roads. That I will feel happy. By the way, my book is complete. My mermaid book that I told you
Amazing.
that I was doing. Yeah, it's
Yeah,
done.
yeah, yeah.
Done. I have it on. I'll send you a link. It's on Amazon.
Please do send me a link.
Pardon?
Please do send me a link.
Yeah, I'll send you the link.
Yeah.
It's awesome. Or you know what? Actually, I'll give you a copy of it. That's fine because I'm gonna get some author's copy. But yeah, it's all
Well, but also drop it in the chat here in case there's someone up that signs in and sees this cast now or later that
yeah.
wonders about this mermaid book. You got to put it into the
I'm
link
not
there.
ready to. You know what? I had just a couple sales already, but I want to get some more 5 stars before I start advertising it. A matter of fact, I shouldn't even be talking about it right now. I held it quiet from everybody for so long, but I just got it finished completely and listed on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles and Spark just 2 weeks ago.
Congratulations.
A week and a half ago, yeah. So I got some sales already, but
Nice.
and 5 stars, but I want to get some more sales, some more 5 stars, and then I'll advertise it. So I'm not ready to put it out there yet, but people love it so far. I mean,
I'm very curious. I've published a book and And it's a joy to think that people are reading your stuff and having fun with it. And it's nice to see positive feedback, and it's crushing to hear negative feedback, but that's the nature of being an artist, right?
Yeah.
And well, best of luck with that. I look forward to hearing it, seeing it, or hearing it, or reading it.
Yeah, you're gonna like it. All right,
Okay.
so Russ, Captain, closing message is you're not just a captain, you're a memory maker and lifestyle innovator. From global voyages to intimate sails on Lake Ontario, he's proven the hospitality isn't about transactions, it's about transformation. With meticulous planning, partnership, and passion, Russ and Beth invite everyone aboard to live life beautifully. For anyone tuning in with dreams of launching a yacht charter or stepping onto a boat for their next celebration, here's your compass. Master your craft, know your region, and offer experiences that resonate beyond the shoreline. As Russ shows us today, it's not about selling hours. It's about crafting moments that drift into legend. Thanks so much, Russ, for sharing the Black Diamond story and for inspiring us to chase our own waves.
Thank you for having me.
Definitely. Wait, one more question. Black Diamond. Tell us about the Black Diamond. Why did you call it Black Diamond?
It was already called that.
I think you told me that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's bad luck in sailing culture to change the name of your boat. There's ways you can mitigate that bad luck, but also we were doing the business to be a wedding business. We want weddings on board, and so the Black Diamond is not a bad name for
Right.
a boat
It is
wedding
fun.
business. Yeah, and it's a black boat.
Yeah.
And it's vaguely reminiscent to the Black Pearl from Pirates of the Caribbean. So
Right,
people always
Caribbean.
ask, yeah. And so we there's a lot of nautical adjacency there that suits the business, even though it's kind of frankly a boring name for a boat. At least it's descriptive.
You know what? Let me ask you. Wait. But this wasn't even in the plan or anything. But we have to talk about just one thing. Is it true that it's bad luck to have a banana on the boat?
I've never heard that.
Really? I've heard
Now,
that.
but that
From
may
different
stem
people.
from that may stem from, like a lot of superstition, the practicality of bananas do foster a lot of bugs.
Yeah.
And so getting bugs on board a boat when you're traveling long distance is bad for the health of all your fruit and vegetables. And so, as you may know from your kitchen, having bananas will attract bugs, fruit flies. And so, and it can increase the rate of decay, or the rate of decay of fruit around bananas. And so sailors may not have brought bananas on board just so it didn't rot their limes, and the limes are the things that cause you to not have scurvy.
Scurvy. Yeah, but that's not the way they said it, Russ. That's not the way it was told to me.
Sure, but superstition comes from the root of practicality, or at least it can come from the root of practicality. So maybe that's it. I've never actually heard that, but I wouldn't want.
Tell me two bad luck and tell me two good luck ones.
Superstition in general?
Yeah, superstitions for boats. Tell us.
Oh, for boats.
Yeah.
Bad luck on boats. I'll have to think about that. Good luck on boats. Good luck on boats. I'm going to stick with the tattoos that Beth and I have. Sailors used to get pigs and chickens tattooed.
Yeah.
Because in the age of sail, pigs and chickens would be brought on board for food for the sailors, and pigs and chickens can't swim. So they were put into wood crates to contain them, and those wood crates were just crates, they weren't boxes, such that if the ship sank, those crates would float. So the animals that couldn't swim, pigs and chickens, would still end up floating, and while the rest of the boat sank. And back in the day, many sailors couldn't swim, and so the luck of having the pigs and the chickens, those idiot animals, surviving a shipwreck, led many common sailors to get tattoos of pigs and chickens. So if you ever see Beth or I, we both have pigs and chickens tattooed on our feet for that reason. It's traditional good luck for sailors.
Okay.
For bad luck, I've heard that it's bad luck to bring red wine on board a sailboat. And I say that there's no red wine allowed on my sailboat, but only because I don't want you staining my decks.
Right.
But then that's coming back to the superstition of practicality of red wine's just bad to have on board a white sailboat.
Okay. Yeah. Is it true when you get a new boat, you have to bring a bottle of rum across it, or is that just a Caribbean one?
That's called christening.
Right.
That is usually associated with naming a boat,
Right.
its first launch or naming. So if we were to rename Black Diamond, the way that you mitigate the bad luck of changing a boat's name is by rechristening it. And
Yes.
so if we were going to change her name, we could change it and then christen her with a bottle of something, rum in my preference. And then she would have absolved all the bad luck associated with the name change.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah,
Yeah.
they have that a lot in Grand Cayman. So I
Yeah.
know about the breaking the rum across the side of the boat and then you naming the boat. So,
Yeah.
well, Russ, thanks so much for being here. I really, really appreciate your time and enjoy your rest. You enjoy your rest. You're off the water now, so enjoy
Yeah.
your
The
time.
boat's out of the water. We're full on photo booth season till the end of December. And then come January, we're going to try to enjoy some rest.
Good, good, good.
Yeah.
All right, my
Thank you
dear.
again
Well,
for
thank you
having me.
so much. And thank you so much for being here.
All the
Bye.
best.
Yeah, guys. So that was Russ. Really, really awesome, entrepreneur as well. What it takes to have a yacht charter, right? So what I'm going to do, I am going to have some lives about interviewing. I feel like that's not a strong point for a lot of folks. So I'm going to first of all, I'm going to have a live teaching you about alchemy, like I promised. And so it won't be a live about a book. And I'm also going to have a live about how to be successful in interviews, to heighten your chances of being successful in interviews. Okay. I think a lot of people need to know about that. Also, I believe it's next week. Is it next week? We're going to have another guest on that is an African entrepreneur and a spiritual leader. Should I keep it a secret? Yes, I'm going to keep it a secret until closer to the time. But he's very popular. He's a spiritual leader, African entrepreneur. You probably saw me post one of his videos before as a short. He's a teacher and a king in his village. And he's going to come and speak with us. So we're going to have him on either next week or the week before, depending on his schedule. But I am going to definitely have a chat with you guys about alchemy, as well as about how the best chances, giving yourself the best chance at getting hired, right? Especially in corporate, or just going for the job that you want. Okay, so we're going to do that. Yeah, so guys, thanks for being here and everybody for checking in. I hope it was something that you could actually, you find it useful to you. I know there are a lot of people who want to start certain tourism services in Jamaica, right? And in the Caribbean. So that's why I had him on as well. And the Black Diamond this is wonderful, and they do a good job, him and his wife Beth. All right, so bless you, and I will see you guys again soon. Stay tuned for the post because I'll tell you when the chat will be for the interviews, right? I want you guys to do better with interviews and actually going for the job that you want. Would it invest rights? Yeah, invest right. Okay, one of my sweet beloved ex-lovers. Funny. All right, guys. Bless you.